Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Bonsai Apprentice. I'm super excited to be here today working on my American red maple forest. Sorry for the lawnmowers, people are just going and it's been going all day, but I gotta get this work done because these leaves are huge and we gotta pinch a little bit. So today that's what we're gonna do. Now, you might have seen the video, it's coming up soon. It's a repotting of this tree. This entire forest got repotted this spring, but that hasn't seemed to slow down these leaf sizes at all. So we are going to cut this back, we're going to get this manageable, but I don't want to take too much vigor out of these trees, which is why we're just going to go and partially defoliate and cut back the leaves. I'm going to show you that process and how it's done, and then we're going to also look at how much less light and how much more light we'll get into this plant and underneath here, and hopefully get these trees looking more like trees and individually sectioned out and less like bushes. So without further ado, let's get to. Alright, so you can see how big this leaf is. We're just going to use this one right here. This leaf, even though it's on our front tree that I'm continuing to grow to thicken, it's still too big and it's right front and center, so we're just going to use it anyways. So the thing about partial defoliation on a tree like this is you kind of want to match the size of the shape of the leaf to the size that you're cutting. So when I come back in and I cut, I kind of fold, come in, cut it like that, so that when we're done, we're still going to have a rough shaped leaf that looks roughly the same size. Alright, it looks the same shape. Sorry, I keep saying size, but we've reduced this area now by probably 30%. Okay? Now, you can always go back and reduce more. I'm not going to on this main tree because I want to keep those leaves fairly big to continue to really thicken this trunk, which I'll show you when we get back to it. Let's talk about a leaf that's smaller, like something that's in here, right? So these underneath, much smaller. You know, something like this is going to be a lot smaller than some of these top leaves, which are going to be much, much bigger. Okay? So the goal is to have them all roughly the same size. And so when we come again, we're going to fold, cut. We're going to fold, cut. Fold, cut, boom. And then, then we have a leaf. I'll go ahead and miss that. But we have a leaf now that's roughly the same size and distribution size overall. Okay. So that's the goal that we're going to do to this entire tree. Now what I'm going to do is put us on a time lapse so that I can just get this work and go. Now that I've a little bit explained to you that process of how we're defoliating, right? We're going to fold these leaves, fold the leaves, cut the leaves, leave the shape as close intact, and have them all roughly the same size. From there, though, we also have to start making some smart branch decisions. We have branches that are going to be crossing over, we're going to have leaves that are crossing over, and we want to start to make decisions based off our ramification process and the pinching that we did on this tree. Okay, so these big flush of leaves, if they are still have stuff that's elongating, or they themselves have elongated, and we can come back and further reduce, we should do that so we can continue to let light in and continue to build that ramification and movement throughout this tree. None of these trees are at a point where ramification is there, where the leaf size and stuff like that is 100% where I want it. So getting that movement, getting that ramification, getting those thickenings and thinnings in certain branches in certain areas right now is where we're at on this tree. So by reducing these leaf sizes on these first flush of growth that are very big, and leaving room for these second and tertiary ones from what we did when we pinched, we will get a much better ramification on the tree. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for the whole tree. We're going to go thin, and then I'll come back. Okay? so we're done going and reducing all the leaves. You can kind of see the density is less, right? Like visibly you can see more light getting down into the root base. You can see my hand moving across the back. I mean, obviously in the thick of it, it's a little bit hard, but even before you couldn't do it, right? So by reducing this leaf size, we have done a couple of things horticulturally. One, we've slowed the tree's rampant growth down. Okay, the production of sugar and starches, we've reduced that. Now, the other thing we've done is, since we pinched and reduced leaf size, the next flush of growth, which this forest has always put out a second one midsummer, all right, or I guess late spring, midsummer, so we're getting close, and even in some parts, we are starting to get smaller leaves, which I'll show you, but those leaves will be smaller. Now, I am moving slightly away from trying to build this tree's health and build a good root base and making this forest, right? Like a lot of the trees are the right size that I kind of envision, you know, maybe a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller here or there. So I think long term though, this year going into the following years coming, for about the next 5 years, we're really going to start to build that ramification, put in movement. I don't want to overwire this, so it's going to be a lot of clip and grow. So with all that in mind though, right, we still need this front tree to be big. So I did some of these lower branches, although I wasn't going to do all of them. Some of them I heavily reduced more than that 75% or that 50%, depending on where the leaf was in the tree. Some of them I went as far to probably reduce to about 40%, and those were the ones that were right on top of all the leaf coverage and preventing a lot of light. This, as it grows and elongates, I'm assuming I'm just letting it grow, so I have no idea how tall it will get. I'm not worried about this branch when I'm trying to build this thickness here so that this tree, you know, gets another probably half to a quarter inch in diameter over the next coming years. But I need to make sure that when this tree is growing, the rest continue to be in a healthy state. Okay? So where do we go from here? Let's talk a little bit about fertilization. This spring, I'm going with a low fertilization. I'm not going to over fertilize this and try and produce another large flush of growth. I think it's time here in the next, like I said, in the next year to next 5 years, we're going to start to want to build that ramification. So we want it to be a little bit nicer, a little bit thinner, a little less coarse growth, a little less big leaves, okay? If this continues to stay in really healthy shape going forward, if these smaller leaves take off, they're doing well, they are manageable size, I can come in and then remove these rather large leaves that we've all cut back to and continue to still accumulate starches and growth, but at a much slower and refined rate. And then from there, over the next coming years, ramifying the shape, the size, the output, all of those things that go into building a nice bonsai forest. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me show you the small leaves here. I'll just bring the plant closer. Let me show you these. So in here, you can see we're starting to get those second flushes of baby leaves coming up, okay? Perfect. We've cut them, you know, this is what some of our smallest ones look like, and this is kind of the size that we're getting from it. So we've kind of still got that maple shape, and we've kind of matched the size and surface area on all of the leaves, and really thinned it out, as you can see going forward. So thank you all for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, follow me on my other channel, my Twitter and Instagram and my TikTok. It's a great time. And I'm trying to post there more now that kind of this hectic spring, life's just been in the way. It's been real rough, honestly. But do like, share, subscribe, pass it along. If you have any questions or comments about the process and what I'm doing, please leave them in the comments and I'll get to them. So without further ado, sayonara.